out of 75. He has no other dedicated graveyard hate besides the Farika. And so Ray's really powerful draws. John has to just cross his fingers and hope they don't show up.
Ray's got a good setup here.
Yes.
In some aspects, it almost feels like it's his match to lose. Now, of course, that's why they give you 3 games. You know, you can certainly lose the game to mana screw or bad draws or what have you. But I think his setup and what he's trying to do, really, they don't really even interact with each other that much.
And Ray's got some action in his sideboard for the matchup, too. 2 copies of Tremoka's Command and a Reclamation Sage. The Reclamation Sage is particularly good in this matchup as Ray can keep recurring it with his various effects. And John is trying to build up a board of enchantments. Some of them are very expensive and quite slow. And so the enchantment removal here is naturally going to be really good for Ray.
Well, these players will finish shuffling up, and we'll have our game underway for you in just a moment. Of course, we've got 3 players through. Chris Calhoun, he's waiting on the winner of this one. And then we got Todd Anderson and Chris Van Meter, both playing Bant Heroic 75-card mirror match. So Bant Heroic, certainly a popular choice this weekend from our players from Roanoke. And then Abzan, well, of course Abzan's popular. It's Abzan.
Yep.
Why wouldn't it be popular?
Although I believe these are 2 different Abzan decks without Siege Rhino. That has got to be a first.
Yeah, it's weird,
That's
right?
got to be a first.
Yeah. Both players playing Siege Rhino, or excuse me, both players playing Abzan. Neither player has Siege Rhino in their
Neither
deck.
player has Abzan Charm.
Yeah, okay.
I believe the hero's downfalls are in the sideboard to the extent that they're in the decks at all.
Yeah, I've got 3 in the sideboard for John Taylor.
2 for Ray.
See, you can make your Abzan deck not boring and cool.
Right. You can do other stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to play Courser and Siege Rhino and be that guy.
Courser Crewfix is in John's deck, but he's an enchantment deck. We can let that one go.
I'll let it slide. This time.
Seder Wayfinder's in Ray's deck, but he's Rally the Ancestors. We can let that one go.
Okay, okay. You're such a nice guy today. I'm impressed. You're just letting things go. It's very unpatrick of you.
I appreciate the effort, you know? You can't always win, but you can always try.
That's very true.
Except that's not really true either.
Yeah, it's good.
It's nice to think that that's true.
That's a lesson for you at home. You can't always win, but you can always try.
You can always trick yourself into believing that you can try, which is a good starting point.
Now, Sansep Citadel is how we're going to start game number 3 here against Tautic and Taylor. Sansep Citadel on both sides of the table. Tautic will sacrifice a Windswept Heath. Forester Plains on the way.
Big ovation when Ray was announced for the top 8 here. Very popular in the Virginia community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, not from here originally. I know him from my PTQ days from the Connecticut area.
I know he was a store owner. I'm not sure if he still is at this point. I believe that he still is. He's going to play a Seder Wayfinder. Turn over a couple of cards. Some options here as far as lands are concerned. Manic Influence, Sansep Citadel, and a Windswept Heath. See what land he wants to slide. A lot of options. And they're all pretty different lands, too.
Something to fill up the graveyard, something that makes all of his mana, a land that can come into play tapped, just trying to avoid here. 3 very different options.
Well, Sansep Citadel appears to be the weapon of choice. Rest will go to the graveyard. Maybe he took a Manic Influence.
Suggests that he needs double black.
Yeah, he took the Manic Influence, pardon me. Here's a Sylvan Carry added. We'll head back Tautic's way. There's Manic Influence. Now he'll take 1. Merciless Executioner.
Combo deck.
Here's a Plains.
Plays a Wayfinder, gets a land, sacrifices it to something else.
So much value. Herald of the Pantheon on top of the deck. Courser of Crewfix on the battlefield.
Could kill the Courser and attack.
What can't he do?
I know. Could play Hero's Downfall attack. Could play Grim Harspecs in attack, probably. A lot of good angles here.
I'll take 1 for Mana Confluence. We can guarantee that. There's Hero's Downfall. In for 3.
Doing it all.
Yep. Taylor going to draw Herald of the Pantheon. There's Nyx Weaver and a Temple.
Can keep attacking through that.
Yep.
No big deal.
Tautic will draw a copy of Windswept Heath.
And, you know, I'm joking around a little bit, but don't discount the significance of these little points of damage here.
Oh, of course
Ray's
not.
trying to set up a Rally the Ancestors kill through Mogus Marauder. The lower and lower John goes, the easier that is to accomplish.
Yeah.
That's now 6 points the Merciless Executioner has dealt. Makes the combo's job much easier.
Windswept Heath will be sacrificed. There's a basic forest. Here's Anafenza the Foremost.
Pretty nice response to a Nyx Weaver.
Yeah, big creature. And shuts down the graveyard a little bit. Trigger from the Nyx Weaver. Looks like John might have a copy of Hero's Downfall in hand.
That's a whole turn, though. He may have to do it.
Yeah.
If he's going to likely do it anyway, he might as well do it before the Nyx Weaver triggers.
So there goes Anafenza, and now there's the Nyx Weaver trigger. So 2 cards, Land of War Waste. Let's make it 2 of those. Get milled over, and then Taylor will draw for the turn. We'll play a Plains. There's the Herald of the Pantheon. Here's an attack. That one's a new one. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less. And whenever you cast an enchantment spell, it doesn't have to resolve. Just when you cast it, you get to gain a life. Can't forget it is a 2-mana 2/2 as well, so it can give some beatdowns.
Really nice enabler for this deck. Unfortunately, not an enchantment, so you don't get all the synergies, but this is a nice pickup for Constellation decks.
There's an attack.
Very fast block.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
And you may wonder, why is John blocking with this thing instead of the Nyx Weaver? Because he could have left that back on defense. The thing is, John needs to keep as many black blockers available as possible, so when Mogus Marauder gives things Intimidate, he has black creatures to block with. So this looks like a funky block, but John's trying to protect himself from Rally the Ancestors in a turn or 2. I don't think Ray was expecting that block.
I don't. Given how much Ray has paused before letting damage resolve, I have to agree with you.
John did not hesitate also.
Not at all. I think Ray may have expected him to value that creature a little higher, and John said, I want that 3/1 off the table, actually, because I'm at 11. I'd be going to 8 if I took it.
Maybe there's an argument for trying to block with enchantments and hold the impact of a Dromoka's command, but there's no way for John to really play around that card long term because his deck's just all enchantments. So
yeah.
If Ray's got Dromoka's command, it's just going to be good, and you try to play around the other elements of the deck.
A couple of cards going to get turned over here for John from the milling with Nyx Weaver.
And the real tight spot here for John is Ray looks like he's winning this game right now just based on cards in hand and what the board looks like, and he doesn't even have land number 5 yet. We haven't even talked about Rally the Ancestors being something that has to be on John's radar.
But it's something that's always on the radar, you have to imagine, right?
Yeah, not just from the perspective of the game we're viewing right now.
Yeah.
Clearly, John's thinking about it. The block last turn and attacking with the Nyx Weaver indicates that.
It's almost just, it's too powerful a card to ignore, it seems like. Oh, there's Grim Horror Specs at the morph. Time to untap and time to draw. There's Rally.
Oddly enough, really the only bad draw on the deck at this point.
Yeah.
Spells are pretty sweet. And lands are pretty sweet.
Yep.
Rally Ancestors is not sweet.
Legacy players.
Hero's Downfall.
After 7
There's an attack.
rounds, I now have the top 8.
Not how I expected this game to go at all.
No,
So,
this is a
weird
weird
game.
one.
Your deck for a deck check. Please bring it
Starfield and Nyx among the cards that has been milled over.
in first place with 18 points, Daryl Ayers.
Ray, I think, is in very good shape here, unless John is able to find the copy of Farika. At that point, the Rally the Ancestors becomes a little bit harder to execute, and Ray has to try to win the game au natural.
Yep.
Not very easy for him to do.
16 points, David Long.
But there is only one copy in the 75. No copies in the sideboard, one in the main deck.
With 16 points, John Howell. 5th place with 16 points, Kemper Poe. 6th place with 16 points, Richard Johnson.
Let's see what John's got here.
7th
Another Herald of the Pantheon, pass the turn back.
points, Sean Park.
Tautic will draw.
And 8th place with 16 points, Anthony LaFlamme. Please bring your decks in.
And as you mentioned, Rally is just not set up yet at all. So Ray is really playing more of an Abzan game, just kind of being reactive.
What he can do is he can rally for 2, get a Wayfinder back, hope to find the land, and that sets the stage for rally for 3 the next turn.
Sure.
Row tables from your front.
We're taking a look at his graveyard. There's just not really a lot going on down there.
It's not how you want to do it.
No. Might be the way he has to do it, though. He did draw Liliana for the turn.
Yeah, Liliana and attack is an option. Allows Ray to sort of stay on this trajectory of whittling John down and setting up a rally kill.
Ray's just going to pass the turn back instead. Starfield and Nyx is going to be returned.
This is really ambitious from John because if his plan here is to cast Starfield, he's not beating Tremoka's command and he's not beating a rally.
Now, Starfield is obviously very powerful, but will this work out is the question.
I mean, John has cast the die. This
Yeah.
appears to be the way that he wants to do this. Hope that he gets to next turn, and this plays right into both Tremoka's command and the back-to-back rally sequence that Ray has set up here.
It's only going to cost 4 mana because Herald of the Pantheon, so as long as John remembers his
What a deal.
as long as John remembers his trigger, he'll be able to gain a life as well.
And what's so powerful here for Ray is he can go for rally for 2, and if he misses, can just untap and play Tremoka's command and go about business as usual.
Ray will take 1. He's down to 9. Here's rally for 2. Satyr Wayfinders are on their way back. So 2 triggers. That one missed, but that's okay if you think about it because he's just trying to fill up his graveyard.
Yeah, Ray would have really liked a land that came into play untapped through those 2 Wayfinders.
Tautic will untap. Those 2 will get exiled from the rally trigger, and then will draw a card for the turn. Tautic's still in pretty good shape right now.
Yeah, he can even go something like, I'll fight and make you sacrifice enchantment even though he loses his horror specs, and he's still got the 2 rallies left over now, land number 5.
I like attacking.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he's going to block, great. You don't have to bother with that, but you can go ahead and take care of his board. He'll untap and play whatever it is he can play, and then you have back-to-back rallies set up.
Yeah.
And Ray's graveyard at this point is stacked.
It just got stacked thanks to the Wayfinders. 6 spells, 2 lands. That's what they hit last turn. Taylor will have to decide if he wants to block or not.
If he blocks, then Ray can go +1/+1 to the horror specs. You sack an enchantment. If he doesn't block, I don't mind fighting and trading now that you have land number 5.
Get your damage in and then fight and trade.
Yeah.
Fight and have him sacrifice the Starfield.
Right.
Yeah. Then you've cleared his board up and you're sitting pretty good.
No discard in John's deck either. It's really only the one Farika that can muck things up, and he would have to have it and be able to stop you by exiling 1 card, because that's the amount of mana that he has available, and that seems hard to do.
So damage will come through. Taylor will take some. Now Tautic will follow up with Dramoka's command. So he will fight and have Taylor sacrifice an enchantment. So had a feeling that might be the route he goes, and it is. And now they'll pass the turn back. Taylor gonna untap. Take a draw step. We'll see what he can put together.
There's not a lot that John can really muster on this turn that matters besides Farika. That's really the best he can do. And Eidolon of Blossoms is a nice card, but does 0 to stop what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. Carry at it as well.
And now this is an easy rally for a graveyard full of stuff, which includes Mokus Marauder and Nantuko Husk. Give your Nantuko Husk haste and intimidate, sack some stuff. You actually had to sack nothing basically, because John's at 4.
Yeah, basically nothing.
Mokus Marauder plus Husk attacking is good enough.
Yeah, assuming that they're both down there. I know Husk is. Didn't get a great look at the graveyard to see if Marauder is, but if that's the combination of cards that's down there, that's it for this match. We're going to take a look at the graveyard. I think maybe the missing piece right now is Mogus Marauder.
If he doesn't have Mogus Marauder, well, there's still a lot of Merciless Executioner triggers that occur here, and I can draw a bunch of cards with Grim Horror specs.
We'll see what Tautic wants to put together on this turn, because it doesn't look like a lethal rally just yet.
Yeah, I would imagine Ray would be moving a lot faster against a tapped-out opponent with no black blockers if... I think his Marauder may be in hand.
He'll cast Reclamation Sage to take care of the Eidolon of Blossoms, so he's clearly not where he wants to be just yet. Pass the turn back. Taylor will draw. 9-4 in favor of Tautic. Taylor with an uphill climb here. Game has really felt in favor of Tautic the entire time. Here's Krufix's insight. You can see a lot of cards here. Farika can be a pretty good one, so this might accelerate Tautic's process. And you reveal the top 6 cards, and you get to take 3 enchantments among them.
Yeah,
it's very powerful.
Farika's good news for John, although unfortunately at 4, even if he breaks up some of the Rally of the Ancestors shenanigans, he's got to be able to beat the 1/1 Death Touch tokens on the way back. Not easy to do at 4. Well, the Doomweight Giant can help there.
There's a Temple. Take a look at that top card. Taylor going to leave that on top, it appears. Nyx Weaver is the play. Now we head back Tautic's way. He'll draw. Elvish Mystic. The way that Tautic has built this deck, it really does kind of resemble a birthing pod deck. Obviously not the same power level because, well, what is?
I think the Collected Company combo builds of Modern are a good analog.
Yeah.
You don't have full control over what's happening like you did with Birthing Pod, but there's a lot of selection. And you can win some games just playing normal Magic.
And that's always one of the benefits. To me, that's really a goal, to be able to do that. Here's 5 mana. Looks like Rally might be on the way. And it is for 3. So a bunch of stuff's about to come back. Grim Horospex, Liliana.
And now if Mogis Marauder is trapped in Ray's hand, what Ray can do is sacrifice a creature, which he'll be doing anyway to draw some cards with Grim Horospex. Flip Liliana, plus Liliana to force both players to discard. Then you put Mogis Marauder in the graveyard. Then your second rally should be good to go.
Yep. That's a way to get it done. 2 Horospecs in play, by the way. That's a lot of cards. There's also a Merciless Executioner trigger. So now he's got to figure out how he wants to stack all this stuff. Not a ton of triggers to stack. He's got a Satyr Wayfinder, a Merciless Executioner. So Executioner is going to sacrifice the Wayfinder. So oddly enough, that'll put more triggers on the stack. It'll cause Horospex to trigger twice since there are 2 on the battlefield, and Liliana to trigger since a creature died. Of course, John Taylor will have to sacrifice a creature. So he takes a look at Rally. Nyx Weaver's going to bite the dust. Wayfinder will bite the dust. Liliana going to trigger. Both Horospecs as well.
Triggerception. Well, it's very simple at first.
Never is.
Now,
It never is. We are in Triggerception. You are not wrong about that. So there's your zombie token. Liliana does flip. Now Satyr Wayfinder will turn over some cards. Send Protector, Elvish Mystic, Mana Confluence, Collected Company. Mana Confluence will go to the grip. See how Tautic wants to move forward now. The world is his oyster.
yep. I mean, it's cool to watch this deck in action because Ray doesn't even have to really combo out necessarily to win the game, and he's done most of his work without Rally of the Ancestors, getting John all the way down to 4. He can just grind John down with these kind of exchanges, draw a bunch of cards, kill a bunch of stuff. If he happens to execute the combo kill, that's convenient and expedites the process, but he doesn't have to do that.
Yep. Again, it's just kind of a slow grind. Liliana is going to get cashed in. Merciless Executioner is going to come back. And what's unique about this approach, as opposed to the approach we saw from Tickle last weekend, Tickle was all in on the combo.
Yeah.
And if the combo didn't work out, as we saw against Jeff Hoagland and a couple other players, he really didn't have a way to win because he couldn't play a normalized game. You're seeing here with Rally the ability for Ray to clear the board, attack for some damage with this Reclamation stage that was left over. He's got a bunch of cards in his hand, so he can discard a bunch of cards and get set up for a combo kill if it comes down to that.
He's got Mogis' Marauders in hand, so he can split the difference, even put one in the graveyard so he can rally, keep one in hand in case Rally's turned off for whatever reason. He's got a green attacker and a black attacker next turn with John at 1. Yeah, I mean, he's got so many different angles of attack here.
Yeah, but the big trick here is to really decimate your board and leave yourself in a good position after a rally. You know, you get to draw some cards, you make your opponent sacrifice some creatures with the Merciless Executioners and the Fleshback Marauders, because it can't go understated. He's playing 3 Merciless Executioners and 2 Fleshback Marauders in the main deck.
On top of 4 copies of Liliana. So this sequence that you're seeing right here, this is not uncommon for Ray's deck to be able to do.
really wants to lock you up.
And now he's got a zombie left over from the Liliana trigger. That's another attacker here.
Because that one's not getting exiled to rally.
Ray missed land drops and didn't really get a whole lot going early on.
It's a slow start.
He was able to interact with enough of John's board where John didn't blow him out of the game, and now once Ray got a little bit of momentum here, not a lot for John to do.
The interesting thing that I find about this deck, or at least I'll say one of the interesting things, is how many lands you're supposed to play. Ray's playing 20 this weekend. We saw Tickle play 20 last weekend. And of course, both players had access to 4 Elvish Mystics and Carry Added, so they also have Satyr Wayfinder to find lands. But is 20 enough?
Well, you got Satyr Wayfinder, Elvish Mystic. The deck only needs 5 mana, and you're drawing a lot of cards as you go with Grim Horror Specs.
Yeah.
So you are going to be a little bit on the lighter side in terms of lands.
Doomwake Giant just took care of a Fleshbag Marauder, or excuse me, a Merciless Executioner. Don't want to confuse the two. And also just took care of that Reclamation Sage. So Ray got to draw some cards from Grim Horror Specs. Now he's sacrificing some cards to Antuco Husk, and I think we got a lethal rally coming in just a bit here, assuming he has one in his hand. And Tautic kind of showing that I've got you basically where I want you. Just want to make sure I don't make a mistake here. Husk will sacrifice itself. Untap. Horror Specs will leave on upkeep from the rally trigger. Tautic draws a copy of Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, now even Fleshbag Marauder or Dramoka's Command is good enough.
Yep. A lot of different ways to go about doing it. I assume with how many cards he has, he's got to have one of them, right? There's Anafenza. Elvish Mystic. Mocha says Marauder. All right, that'll take care of it. Ray Tautic's going to win this match over John Taylor, 2-1. Abzan Rally from the #1 overall seed takes care of Abzan Constellation, and now that will end our quarterfinals. And Chris Calhoun now finds out who his opponent is.
Congratulations, John Taylor. Very good run. Again, 2 Abzan decks scoring off in the quarterfinals, none of which had Siege Rhino or Abzan Charm. Don't see that a whole lot, but I think Ray is just better suited to play a sloggy game, and his post board gives him a lot of interaction. A lot of copies of Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, Dramoka's Command, Hero's Downfall, Reclamation Sage. He can interact with John a little bit easier than the other way around, and Ray's got this combo kill that John always has to be worried about, and the same thing isn't true on the other side.
Absolutely. So that'll put a wrap on our quarterfinals. Ray Tautic